Welcome you all for direct taxation class. In today's session, we will discuss about income from salary. So what do you mean by this income from salary? So every one of us know that whenever we are working, we will be paid from the employer in terms of salary, right? So here with respect to or in the tax perspective, we will be assessing this salary income based on section 15, section 16 and section 17. So before moving on to with respect to section 16, 17 and 15, so we'll just understand what is salary. So here the term salary, it is from the tax perspective, it is normally understood as where salary will be a monetary payment or non-monetary payment that will be given, right? So here in terms of salary, as I said, monetary payment. So what do you mean by monetary payment over here? So here monetary payment in the sense basic salary will be there, bonus, commission, allowances, right? Next thing is as well as non-monetary asset. What do you mean by this non-monetary? Here housing accommodation will be given, medical facilities will be given, interest-free loans will be given by the employer. That is said as non-monetary facilities or non-monetary benefit. So in terms of simple aspect or simple terms, salary means monetary payment as well as non-monetary payment. So what are the main thing here is whenever we render our service, means based on our skills or based on our qualification, we render our skill or we deliver the skill in terms of services for the employer. For in return, employer will be paying us the monetary aspect or non-monetary aspect. That is in simple briefing about salary. Next thing is basic elements of your salary. So what do you mean by this basic elements of your salary in the sense? Payer will be there and payee will be there, right? One thing. Who is the payer and who is the payee, right? So payer is the employer and payee is the employee, right? Or it is also said as master and servant relationship, right? Afterwards, in these aspects, right, majorly whenever you come across salary aspect means there will be a relationship. Before going to that, so what do you mean by that? Relationship will be there. Relationship between whom? Relationship will be between employer and employee. So here, what kind of relationship will be there between the employer and employee? So what are those? So whenever you are joining a job, so what happens normally? You will be employed in an organization, right? So there comes the employer and employee relationship, right? So you commit yourself saying that you will be rendering the service based on the requirement of the organization. So in return, the employer will be paying you the monetary payment, right? So where this is the relationship that exists. So we say that employer-employee relationship. So this becomes a criteria whenever you are assessing your income from salary. That is one thing. Next thing is they also say that employer need to have a capacity to pay you. Means whenever you are rendering a service, for that the employer should have the capacity to pay you back. Means taking your service, he should pay you back. That is one thing. Next thing, we also say that agent and principal relationship. So here agent and principal's relationship means what here? Means on behalf of a person, another person will be acting as a principal. For example, whenever in the department, head of the department will be there, in his absence, he will give his duties or rights to some other person to handle it or to take care of the activities what he was doing. So there lies your agent and principal relationship, where in terms of this, it will not be taken into consideration as employee-employer relationship. That is one thing. And also we come across contract of service and contract for service. This is also one component that will be showing your employer and employee relationship. So what do you mean by this contract of service or contract for service? So first thing is contract of service in the sense the employer can have a direct control over the duties in the manner where the employee will be performing. Means if you are performing, so there will be a relationship or the control from the employer. So that is the thing. So where he can control. So we say that contract of service. Next thing is contract for service. So what do I mean by this? Contract for service means here it is just simply a decision from the contractee that he will be providing you the service. So that is what. This is one thing. Here also employer-employee relationship will be there. So whenever you are assessing the income from salary part, employer and employee relationship should be there. That is what we say. And also as a individual, you will be receiving a salary, right? So how you will be receiving a salary? As an employee, you will be receiving a salary, or as a proprietor, you will be receiving a salary, or as a director, you will be receiving a salary, right? So in these all aspects, you will be receiving a salary where it becomes a source of income for an individual, right? So that you need to pay the tax for it. Understanding? So means as an individual, I am earning an income as a employee, so for which I need to pay the tax for the government, right? In this perspective, we see that income from salary is very essential, and also it will be assessed by the income tax authorities. So where I said employee and employer relationship should be there. So this is what the employer and employee relationship means, right? Next thing is from the Income Tax Act perspective. So they say, or they have defined salary under section 17 subsection 1. So what are those? As per the income tax norms, they have described or defined. So one component they say as wages. Next thing is an annuity or pension. Next thing is gratuity. Next one is any fees, commission, perquisite or profit, any advance of salary, any payment received in respect of any period of leave which an employee has not taken or not availed, any portion of annual accretion in any previous years, that is with respect to balance at the credit of an employee participating in recognized provident fund. Next one is transfer balance in recognized provident fund. Next is the contribution made to the central government in the previous year by the employer under section 80 CCD. So these are the things which has been said as salary from income tax perspective. Again I repeat, wages, annuity, gratuity, fees, commission, perquisite, advance of salary, payment received on availability or availing of the leave which he has not taken, and any recognized provident fund, transfer balance with respect to recognized provident fund, as well as contribution towards central government under section 80 CCD. This is the definition or defined by income tax authority as salary, that is section 17 subsection 1, right? And also you need to remember few points with respect to this salary. So normally salary will be used in contrarily to with respect to wages also, right? So where income tax authority says salary as well as wages are identical in nature. That is what income tax authority says. Next one is voluntary payment. So what do you mean by this voluntary payment? Here the act does not have any different meaning between the voluntary and contractual payment, but they say that both are taxable. Clear? Next thing is remuneration for extra work, means whenever an employee is paid extra payment for the work what he is performing beyond the working hours, that will be said as your extra work. So that shall also be taxable from an tax perspective view. Next thing is salary from more than one source. For example, you will be working in two different places in a day. Normally once you finish your working hours, afterwards in the evening you might work somewhere else. So at that particular point of time, you will be getting the salary from different employers, right? So that will also be taxable. That point also you need to remember. Next one is salary from the former, present or prospective employer. It is also chargeable to tax. So what do you mean by former employer, present employer, prospective employer? Former employer in the sense the previous organization or the previous place where you are working, that is said as former. From him if you are receiving means what you might receive in terms of pension you might receive from the former employer. Present employer in the sense currently where you are working, that is said as your present employer. Next one is prospective employer, means future employer he will be. You might be working or you might be serving on a notice period. So you have already got a job in some other organization. He might also pay you in terms of advance salary or joining bonus like that, right? So we say that salary from former employer, present employer, prospective employer. Clear? So that is also chargeable under the head salaries. Next one is foregoing of salary. So foregoing of salary in the sense, what do you mean by this foregoing of salary? Once you have earned the salary as an employee, sometimes it will be subsequently waived off because it is charged in the previous year or it is attracting some exemption, right? So these are the few points with respect to income from salary which you need to remember when you are solving your problems, right? Till now, I hope you are clear with what do you mean by salary in brief. Next thing is, I will be moving on to the concept basis of charge of salary income. What do you mean by this basis of charge of salary income? For example, whenever we are making an assessment with respect to your individuals, right, internal assessment, right, or else we need to give you the IA marks, right. So at that point of time, what will be the base? We will be giving you the IA marks. We will consider your test, we will consider your assignments, we will consider your presentations, right, and also we consider your behavioral aspect in the college hours or in the class hours. All those aspects will be acting as a base for your internal marks, that is IA marks. In the similar way or in similar way, even to charge the salary income, there is a base which will be dealt under section 15. That is said as basis of charge. So what do you mean by this? How it can be charged? So salary is chargeable to tax either on due basis or either on receipt basis, whichever is earlier, right? So whichever is earlier. So what do you mean by this due basis and what do you mean by receipt basis? For example, whenever we are making an assessment, we take from April 1 to next year's March 31st, right? Till then, that is 12 months period we will be taking for the assessment. Clear? Keeping this as a base, we need to understand due basis and receipt basis. So normally whenever you are received the salary already, that will be the receipt basis. Sometimes due basis in the sense it will be accrued, means you need to receive that but you have not yet received it. So that becomes due basis, right? So based on that, whichever is earlier we say. So due basis in the sense when it is earned and it is not yet received by you. That is also said as accrual basis. We also say it as accrual basis. Next thing is receipt basis. What we say here is when it is received, even if you have not earned sometimes, and also it is said as advance also. So based on this, your salary will be chargeable to tax. And also in which are the perspectives or which are the basis that we will be making as a chargeable or taxable, means any salary due from an employee, right, to the employee by the employer. I repeat, any salary due to an employee from the employer or former employer during the previous year, whether irrespective of the fact it is paid or not, that is a basis of charge. Next thing, any salary paid or allowed by an employee during the previous year on behalf of the employer or the former employer, that is also basis of charge. Any arrear salary that is allowed to an employee during the previous year on behalf of the employer or the former employer, that is also a basis of charge. So this is what we say that basis of charge means. Whenever you need to make an assessment, you need to consider this basis of charge, means whether an employee is receiving the salary from his employer, whether it is a former employer, whether it is a current employer, whether it is a prospective employer. This becomes the basis of charge for your assessment of income from salary. Clear? And also here, as I said, due basis and receipt basis, that also you need to remember. That is also a basis of charge. And also few things in terms of receipt basis as well as due basis, whichever is earlier I said. We also say that taxable salary in different terms. What is that? Advance salary, outstanding salary, arrear salary. Right? Arrear salary means advance salary, outstanding, next one is outstanding salary, next one is arrear salary. Arrears salary, right? Arrear salary. So in these three perspectives also we see the salary. So here advance salary means, so when it will be, it is also said as on receipt basis. Salary paid in advance, that will also be taxable on the receipt basis, right? In case if it is not charged in the previous year. Next one is outstanding salary. So outstanding salary, it will be on a due basis where salary is falling due, right, under the head income from salaries, but you have not yet received it. For example, whenever you are making the assessment, March, normally there is a practice that organization will pay you once you completely work for a month, and then the next month you will be paid with a salary. So here, but with respect to your assessment, what we will be making here is from April to next year March, we will be taking into consideration the 12 months. So March salary you have not yet received, but we will make the assessment. So we say that outstanding salary, which is also said as on due basis. Next one is arrear salary. So what do you mean by this arrear salary means? So here best example is now the COVID situation. Most of the organization have not paid the salary for their employees, but they have promised to pay them later on. That is one example. Or else there is a change in your job profile. So at that point of time, you might be getting the salary increased or increment in your salary, right? So where they say that retrospective effect from so and so date, for example, from April 1, 2019, they say, but you have not yet received the salary. So all those salary accumulated will become the arrear salary. So that also if you are getting, that will also be chargeable on the receipt basis. So these three things also you need to remember. This becomes the basis of charge with respect to your income from salary. Clear? Next thing is we will move on to different forms of salaries, right? Different forms of salary. Yes, we will move on. So what do you mean by this? Different forms of salary. So before discussing this, so I would like to tell you, here also we come across a pro forma that will be followed here. So what are those we need to follow here means, whenever you are computing your income from income from salary. First component will be basic salary, what we consider. Next thing is fees and commission. Next one is bonus. Next one is allowances. Next one is perquisites. Next one is leave encashment, taxable gratuity, tax commuted pension, tax uncommuted pension, leave travel concession, professional tax. These component will be forming you gross salary, right? Means it is an income what you will be getting as an individual. So afterwards what we do, right? We will be giving deduction. Deduction under section 16. Here there is a standard deduction of 50,000 that will be given for an individual, that you need to consider. Afterwards entertainment allowance. Next thing is professional tax. So these are the pro forma pattern that you need to follow whenever you are assessing the income under the head salary, right? So this pro forma will be displayed. Next thing is, as I quoted, we will move on to different forms of salary. So what are those different forms of salary? As now just I listed out with respect to the pro forma aspects, we take into consideration whether these components are chargeable or not. First one, in different forms of salary, first one, And also you remember this can be asked as a theory question in your examination, that is for 7 marks they will ask, or either for 10 marks they will be asking you. First one is basic salary, right? So this component is always taxable, that you need to remember. Next component is dearness allowance, or it is also said dearness pay. It is taxable. Next one is advance salary. Again, this is taxable in the year when it is received, means when you are receiving it. Next is arrears of salary. So arrears of salary, again it is taxable in the year when it is received, right? Next component is leave salary. So what do you mean by this leave salary? So here leave salary in the sense organization will be having their service rules where they say that individual working in their organization can encash his leave, whatever that is available in his credit. Means I am working for a particular organization where the service rule says that every month I will be getting 1 day holiday or 1 CL. It will be called with different perspectives, right? So that leave, whichever I am earning it, which I am not taking it, right, means I will not put the leave, but it will be accumulated. So what happens that will be considered in my credit, that can be encashed. So we say that leave salary. This is depending on the service rules which the organizations are practicing it. So whenever you are encashing such kind of service, means encashing your credit of leave which is available to you, at that point of time it is taxable. How it is taxable? There are two different things which you need to understand here. Whenever you are in service, it is taxable, means continuity of your service, it is taxable. And also in tax, whenever you are making an assessment, they take it as employees from the government sector and employees from the non-government sector, means government employee, non-government employee they say. Leave encashment while in service, whether he is a government employee or whether he is a non-government employee, it is taxable. That you need to remember. Next thing, leave encashment at the time of retirement or at the time of leaving the job. Means you might leave the job or you might take to the retirement. So at that particular point of time, in case if it is a government employee, for him it is fully exempted. In this case, government employee means either it might be a central government or it might be a state government employee, right? Next thing is in case of non-government employee, right? So non-government employee in the sense it includes all the private organization employees as well as local authority as well as public sector undertakings, that will be included. So that will be either fully or partially or partly exemption will be given to non-government employees with respect to leave encashment at the time of retirement or at the time of leaving the job. This is one part of your salary or one form of salary. In detail on this we will be having the numerical problems that we will solve it later. Next component is salary in lieu of notice. So here salary in lieu of notice in the sense, suppose you have decided to leave an organization but they have a policy saying that you need to serve the notice period, right? So at that point of time, whenever you are in notice period, they will be paying your salary. So that is said as salary in lieu of notice. So that is also taxable. So here taxable in the sense you need to pay the tax to the government. Next thing is salary to the partner. So salary to the partner in the sense this will not be chargeable under the head income from salary. So why it is not chargeable? Question is, but don't think that he need not pay the tax or he will not be paying the tax if he is getting a salary as a partner. What happens here is it will be charged under some other head. So which head is that? It will be charged under the head profit and gains of business or profession. So under this head salary to the partner will be chargeable. So that is one form of salary again. Next is fees and bonus. Fees and bonus is a component or it is a form of salary that is also taxable. Next one is bonus. So it is again taxable on the receipt basis if it is not taxed in the previous years. And also you need to remember, whenever you are making or saying it is taxable, means you should also cross check whether it is charged in the previous year or not. Okay. Next component is gratuity, which is also said as death cum retirement gratuity. So what do you mean by this gratuity here? So gratuity in the sense it is a retirement benefit that will be given to the employee from the employer. It is generally payable at the time of cessation of employment. So what do you mean by the cessation of employment? So cessation of employment in the sense whenever you are leaving the organization, or it might be based on the duration of the service, he will be paid a gratuity, right? So here again, here also we come across government employee and non-government employee, right? So where for government employee, in this case government employee means state government employee, central government employee and local authority will be said as government employee. For them it is fully exempted, means if they are receiving the gratuity, it is fully exempted from the tax, means they need not pay the tax. Next thing is, in terms of non-government employee, as I earlier said, either it will be fully or partially exempted from tax, right? Fully or partially exempted from tax. So it will be made as an assessment, right, with respect to non-government employees. So where we say that non-government employee covered by Payment of Gratuity Act and not covered by Payment of Gratuity Act. In these perspectives, we will be making the assessment where either fully or partly exemption will be given to the employee with respect to gratuity whatever he is receiving. On this also we will be having the numerical problems, right. Next form of salary is pension. So pension, what do you mean by this pension? So again it is a retirement benefit you will be provided with. So where we say that uncommuted pension and commuted pension. So what do you mean by this uncommuted pension and commuted pension? So monthly pension whatever you are receiving, right, that is said as uncommuted pension, which is taxable in all the cases, right. So taxable in all the cases in the sense it might be a government employee, it might be a non-government employee, it is taxable. Clear? Next one I said commuted pension. So what do you mean by this commuted pension? In the sense you will be receiving lump sum amount, means in a total, in some lump sum, in total you will be receiving it, or at a bulk you will receive it. So that is said as commuted pension. In this case commuted pension means, as I said, it is in total or lump sum with respect to government employee, right. For him what happens? It will be exempted or it is fully exempted from tax. Here government employee means state government, central government, local authority as well as statutory corporation employees will be included or will be said as government employees. In case of non-government employees, so where rest of the people are said as non-government employees, for them it is chargeable either partially or either fully. So here based on pension also we will be having numerical problems, and also we contribute or the pension under NPS also will be there, which will be coming under section 80 CCD subsection 1, right. Next component is with respect to what it is annuity from the employer. We say that the another form of salary is annuity from the employer. So that is also taxable as salary. Okay. Next one, RPF, Recognized Provident Fund. So here annual accretion to the credit balance in Recognized Provident Fund means as an individual if you are contributing towards Recognized Provident Fund. So to what extent it is taxable? Here they say that excess of employer's contribution over 12% of salary is taxable. Means if any employer is contributing more than 12%, then it is taxable. What does it mean? Up to 12% it is exempted. That is with respect to contribution what you make, Recognized Provident Fund, right? And with respect to this Recognized Provident Fund, you will be earning an interest, right? So at that point of time, excess of interest based on the notified rate of interest, that is 9.5%, if it is exceeding, then it is again taxable. Okay, so with respect to Recognized Provident Fund, on this also we will be having a numerical problem. Next one is retrenchment compensation. So here again retrenchment compensation. So based on this, again it is exempted to certain extent, least of the following we say, that is amount actually what you are receiving or which is given from the government, specified statutory limit, that is 5 lakh, or any amount calculated with respect to section 25F subsection B under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So based on these three, least of the following will be given as an exemption. Next one is remuneration for extra duties. If you are working any extra hours, for that whatever the remuneration you get, that is also fully taxable. Next one is compensation received under voluntary retirement scheme. So at that point of time, certain cases it will be given as an exemption, but and also here also they say that in case if you have completed 10 years of service or completed 40 years of age, so at that point of time, what is the amount of actually compensation received or actual compensation received, as well as amount specified by the government, that is statutory limit 5 lakh, and also the condition. Based on this, it will be chargeable. Next one is profit in lieu of salary. So profit in lieu of salary, that is also taxable. Next one is salary from UNO, United Nations Organization, that is not chargeable to tax. Clear? So these are the different forms of salary which will be taken into consideration for the assessment of income from salary. Clear? Hope, I think you have understood these concepts here. Today we spoke about introduction to salary, that is income from salary. Next thing, salary definition stated by the Income Tax Authority under section 17 subsection 1, and also basis of charge, where we came across employer-employee relationship. Afterwards we came across different forms of salary. So this is the theoretical concept or theoretical part related to your income from salary, which you need to understand. Thank you.